My friends, we are going to get real today because there are so many women and mothers that are tired. They're feeling so exhausted, overburdened, disappointed, dissatisfied, agitated, filled with shame, with the level of agitation that's there, and at the point of just wanting to give up. And there are so many partners that, not from the lack of trying, are just feeling defeated and not enough. Like, why they're trying so hard, and no matter how hard they try, it just doesn't seem to be enough. In today's episode, I'm going to be your brother and your ally and give you an orientation and tools and teachings that you maybe haven't received before so that this dynamic can change. The divorce rate is the highest it's ever been. Doesn't mean there aren't relationships that don't need to end. And I'd say if people had more tools and more clarity and understanding of what's actually happening in the relationship, maybe it could be different. Maybe couples could go through these uncomfortable places together. Maybe there could be a different outcome. Maybe there could be a breakthrough moment where, in that partnership, the couple could go from struggling, not feeling met, not feeling seen, frustrated, irritated, and wanting to, throw in the towel, to maybe growing and evolving together. I know for me, if I had this teaching, these tools, this orientation years ago, things maybe would be a lot different. Maybe I wouldn't have had to spend so many years banging my head against the wall, struggling in the realm of relationship. So in today's episode, we are going to go into, first of all, exploring why the hell are so many women and mothers just tapped out, wrung out, dried up, defeated, irritable, angry. Then we're going to go into the myth of masculine and feminine energy. And then I'm going to give you practical tools and guidance, my friends, so that this can change, so that we can all be allies in service to women and what's actually needed there that's been unseen for way too long. We're going to shine a light on it together today. Okay, so first of all, why? Why are there so many women and mothers feeling this way? Why are so many partners struggling in meeting their women? Well, it's taken me, first of all, years to get to these understandings. It's taken countless books and mentors and being in relationship and messing it up and doing the wrong thing and getting curious of what am I doing here that isn't helpful. Obviously, I'm part of the reason for things not going so well. I was previously married and then ended in a divorce, and it was such a shocker for me. Some of you know that story, but it was, one day my wife at the time just walked in the house and said she was done. She threw in the towel. She was not feeling met. And I didn't even know it was coming. And that brought me down to my knees, and it brought me into this place of curiosity after I went through the dark night of soul, after I went through all of the pain and the turmoil and the remorse and the shame of like, how did I get here? I ended up finding someone coming into my life, a guide that came into my life that was very skilled in the realm of relationship. And the way they related with me started to initiate me in deeper insights and understandings of what I wasn't offering my previous partner. That set me on a whole new trajectory to devote my entire life of being a relationship coach, because I received so much from how I was related with that it sparked this like excitement and this inspiration in me of, I want to learn this realm of relationship with mastery, because what I've found is my biggest pain points in my life have been where I don't understand relationship, where I don't know what to do, where I don't know what to say, what I don't know what to offer. And then it created, this energy in me of just like, oh, this is such a problem, and wanting to avoid it or just get what I need, and then but not fully commit or devote to friendships and partnerships because it was so hard. I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, wait a minute, this is so painful. I need to figure this place out, because something in me knew that if I really learn this terrain, if I learn actually what's required to do relationship well, I really believed every other area of my life would improve. And years later, it turns out to be true. And so I want to help you all listening. If you're in that place where you are struggling in the what to do for the women, we're going to explore that. So I digress. The learning that I received from my marriage that ended, and through all the feelings I went through of remorse and embarrassment and shame and all the things, what it brought in was a clarity looking back after I received ingredients, from the guide and the coach that I was working with. Once I was met in a certain way, I started to then realize, oh, that's what she needed. That's what I wasn't doing. And so when we explore this place of why are so many women frustrated and at this place of wanting to give up, it's because they are not being met in a way that actually, where they can feel met. Like they're not feeling seen. The biggest thing that I've noticed with women is they're not feeling seen. They're being offered ingredients that aren't helpful, that don't match what they're actually needing. They're being loved in a way that maybe satisfies a man. They're being loved in ways that are just very misattuned. They're not satisfying the depth of what a woman actually needs. There's so many mothers, as an example out there. This is one way. There's so many mothers that are carrying such a big load. They're planning, they're orienting, they're figuring out all the kids' needs and the family needs and tending the home and doing the laundry and doing all these things. And then they go and they connect with somebody who doesn't have kids, and there's such a lack of awareness that, oh, this mother probably needs help carrying the load of the child. And then instead tries to relate with them. And this is a blind spot, just culturally. No one's bad or wrong. I just want to name this because I said in the beginning of this, we're going to look at the gritty truth. We need to look at this for it to change. We need to have deeper awarenesses of what's going on so that we can offer something different. There's so many mothers that have a deep pain point because a lot of other people just don't understand the level of load and responsibility that they're walking around with. They don't understand that a mother has this deep natural orientation to care for others, to care for the kids, and a lot of her needs become less and less and less and less satisfied because she's so busy caring for everyone else. And so what's interesting, and I've watched this, I've listened to mothers talk about this, and this is a big one. There's a lot of mothers that are like learning about how to mother even better than they are. They're learning what's needed developmentally for the kids. They're learning about their relationships. They're doing all these things to become a better woman, to become a better mother. And then they go out into the world, and let's say they're at a grocery store, and they're getting groceries, and the kid's doing a completely developmentally natural thing, and they're like running around and making loud noises and maybe pulling something off the shelf. What a common experience is for a lot of mothers is the mothers will be looked at with judgment about the kid being out of control or a problem or so inconvenient that this noise is here, instead of, oh, like I don't think I've heard more than two stories in my whole life where I heard a mother describe somebody coming up to that mother and being like, oh, God, is there some way that I can help you here? You know, can I push your cart? Can I, it's just like a missing piece. Like it's more just like, oh, it's, I've watched it and heard it about airplanes. It's like kids yelling and crying. And then it's like, oh, here's this kid crying behind me. And there's this like judgment of the inconvenience of the experience that's natural. And the mothers are trying to hold it all. And now they not only are trying to hold the kid in the chaos of like they're developmentally wild and fault. They have no impulse control. So no one's bad or wrong. But this is happening. And now they're also having to hold energy and space and boundary to the judgment that a lot of these mothers receive for how they're doing it or for how they're holding it or for what's happening for their kid. You know how exhausting that is for a woman? To not only have to go out vulnerably into society under-resourced because they're lacking, a lot of the time, lacking the space, the time, the energy, the support for the self-care. And they're holding all these things at home and they go out vulnerably, maybe like didn't even have time to shower that day and doing all these things. And then now having to face judgments and criticisms and that energy. Like, do you wonder why women or mothers are just frustrated and reactive and irritable? A lot of them, not that this is all the time, but like when it shows up, they're needing help and support in a way that's attuned. Mothers need the weight and the load that they are holding to be supported. They need support. They need assistance, and I've learned this from my beloved Courtney, and she's so clear in what she needs. And I love getting to hear her just express it of like, what I'm longing for? She'll share this with me. You know what I'm longing for? She's like, yeah, you know what I'd like to do? People come up to me and talk to me. And yes, I'd like to have an adult conversation, but I can't because I'm scanning for Cedar, making sure he doesn't break anything, da da da, and this and oh. And like, what I'm longing for is someone says, hey, and we're blessed. This does happen a lot in our community. So I just want to acknowledge everyone who does do this, because she's very clear at asking too, of like, this is what I need help with, is someone coming in and then relating with our son so that she can have a break of being full-time on all the time mother in these social situations or going out in the world. And, yes, I come in and I support in so many ways in the day-to-day. And for mothers, it's never enough. There can always be more help and support, always. And so that's specifically with mothers. Women in general now. A lot of women are feeling these, emotions that I expressed in the beginning, the frustration, the irritable, the disappointed, the just like ready to give up, the like just dried up, crunchy, reactive, critical. That's not just because something's wrong with them, they're crazy, they're mean. That, my friends, is because they are being misattuned to. They are not receiving relational ingredients that actually satisfy the depth of their being. They are being related with in ways that they just don't match. They don't match what's actually needed deep down. Now, there's always going to be a responsibility on the woman to do her work on receivership. There's a lot of women, because they're tired and frustrated and irritable, all the things and the way that they've been treated by society and by their fathers growing up and by the men that they've dated in their life and, maybe the husband that they're with, that it has made them very reactive and it's made it difficult for them to be in receivership. So maybe it's not from a lack of things being offered that maybe are very attuned, but because of all the experiences over time, stacked over time, where there is a resistance or a pushing away what's being offered. There is a part where women do And, Beautiful Human, I don't know if you know who Teal Swan is, but Teal Swan talks about this. And the work that she does with women is helping women actually soften and move into receivership so that she can actually receive what's offered from a man, from others. Like there is that work. So I just want to acknowledge that, because that is a piece. And there are a lot of other women who are thirsty and hungry to receive. They're just receiving the wrong things. You know, this would be like, you know, if I if I went to, we have our dog here in New. She is a beautiful guardian dog that is just a wonderful being, and her breed is designed, like, it has been bred naturally to eat meat, and just like, meat and rooty vegetables is what's in a lot of dog food, and she will eat that. She wasn't bred ever in her lineage to eat fruit. If I just filled her dog bowl full of fruit, guess what? She's going to look at me, and she does. She gives me these looks of like, I don't want that. Like, what is your problem? And so she's going to turn it away. She's not going to want it. She's not going to want it. And so women are like this too. Women need certain ingredients that they actually want to receive to feel open, to feel met, to feel seen. And so we're going to move into the myth of the masculine and the feminine energy, because this has been a journey that I've been on for years to learn and explore, and there's lots of ideas around masculine and feminine. And in a lot of our episodes and the ways that we speak about it, sometimes there is a way that we use, and I use the words masculine and feminine in a way that defines gender, my specific gender, and the gender of Courtney. And sometimes that's a way that I express it. But the myth is it isn't actually gender specific. Every single human being has masculine essence and feminine essence. And this is what I want to talk about. What is that? If we want to soften and smooth out this area of where women aren't feeling met and they're feeling dried up and there's something that's missing. Now I'm going to pull on, if you're a man watching this, listening to this, I'm going to draw on the gift that you have, and that is your logical brain. We're going super logical on this because I need you to understand who you're relating with, what you're relating with, so that you can make sense of it in that logical mind, leverage that, and show up differently in a way that is actually attuned. Okay? This took me years to understand. I'll tell you a quick story on this. I remember a while ago, a few years ago now, I remember walking into the house feeling so good and all the things that I had accomplished in the day. And inside of myself, I was celebrating how I was going to show up for Courtney, my partner. And I was so excited that I was going to meet her. I was going to just like shower her with gold and appreciate her and value her. And I was imagining how happy and excited she was going to be. And then, it was just going to be so great. And so I walk into the house and I'm thinking of all the things. I'm scanning through the day and thinking of all the things that I appreciate about her. And this is what I do. I walk in and I walk up to her and I look at her and I'm like, sweetie, I'm just so impressed and amazed by you. Thank you so much for when you went to town for grabbing groceries. Thank you so much for doing the laundry, and I don't even have to ask, you just do it. Thank you for doing the laundry. Thanks for folding it. Oh my God, thanks for making the bed. Oh, sweetie, thank you so much. And I list all these things I'm grateful for. And then I'm looking at her and I'm wondering, why I'm seeing the facial expressions that I'm seeing, because it's sure not representing her feeling so filled up. And I was confused. And then she kind of looks at me and then kind of just shifts on and keeps doing whatever she was doing. And she's like, thanks. And I was like, what? What? And then I'm like, okay, obviously I need to share more. And so I'd share more things that I value and appreciate about her. And it just wasn't working. I'm a slow learner sometimes. And then now, after all these years of doing it that way, after trial and error and questioning and like, oh, like what? I started to ask questions of like, hey, I notice like there's something going on when I do this. This is what I'm looking at. What's happening there? She's like, well, I just don't need that. I don't need to be told or like appreciated for all the things I'm doing. I was like, oh. And I was confused by that. And so I read more books and, leaned into more like education and learning and learning from the female clients that I worked with and like, what? Okay, wait, women here are feeling really met and satisfied, but there's this place in my partnership. It's not translating in the same way. What? Okay. And then I started to really get curious and study what's working for my female clients consistently. And I started to write down and journal these themes, to contemplate these themes of what am I doing there that's so consistent and reliable. And then things started to make sense. Almost all of the time in those sessions working with women, because that's just for orientation, anyone listening, I'm a relationship coach, and mostly I support men and help them through the process of initiation. How my business started as a relationship coach was actually supporting women and helping them heal their relationship to the masculine. I love that work. And in that work, I learned so much because day in, day out, in and out of those sessions, I got to experience what actually worked. And you know what's really fascinating is 90% of the time, the thing that really satisfied these women the most was giving them reassurance, but truly seeing the essence of who they were, the essence of their being, the light that they bring, the energy that they bring, and speaking to more of that. When I spoke to that, that is where they felt really met and seen. And so I started to do this in my relationship in the places that were in the day-to-day life, right? Because I was so confused of like, why isn't this translating fully? And I was like, oh, right. Because in a session, it's a very specific chunk of time. We're not in day-to-day life. But then what I was doing is I was going into day-to-day life, and then I was loving Courtney in the way that I wanted to be loved. Okay. So masculine and feminine energy. I'm going to change the verbiage and describe it as masculine, feminine essence. So sometimes in our episodes, yes, I'm referring to gender, but this isn't gender specific. There are so many different expressions. So if you're listening to this, first of all, if there's any places where you're like, I triggered the heck out of you and I'm so off base, please message me, put it in the comments. I want to learn. I want to know where I'm off base for your experience here. And I believe all of us have a balance and a range that's unique of holding masculine essence and feminine essence inside of ourselves. We all have a different balance, and there is no right or wrong. It just is what it is. And it's like the poles of a magnet, north and south. That's just an energetic, universal principle that there is a north and a south. There's poles of energy. And when I refer to masculine and feminine energy, I like to refer it as poles of energy. They are different and they require different things. And for there to be charge in life, I know this inside of myself, for there to feel like there's a charge of excitement and sexual energy, and when I say sexual energy, I mean this creative force that wants to be in life, that wants to penetrate life, that wants to receive life. It comes from a balance, a polarity within myself, where I'm not too much in my feminine essence or too much in my masculine essence. It's where I find my natural balance point. And for me, just specifically, I'd say I'm equal. I'm half and half. I can actually swing either way very easily. And now that's not the case with everyone. Some men out there are like mostly masculine essence with a little bit of feminine essence. And then there's so many different orientations. There's a lot of women like Courtney, who's very, very feminine. And in the small places, she's got that strong masculine essence. It is strong, it is potent, so it feels really big, but she's mostly feminine, is my experience. Maybe she would say something different. And so there's all these different balances, but we need to understand, because this isn't talked about enough, we need to understand the energy of these essences so that we know how to intentionally turn them on, to activate them, to relate with them, and then also to satisfy the needs of them. We need to first understand what's our personal balance point, and then what's our partner's, and then how do we bring the ingredients that are actually going to be helpful to the essence that our partner is in, okay? So for those of you that are watching this on YouTube or on one of the platforms where there's video as an option, I'm going to hold something up here, and I'll describe it to you for the ones that are just listening. This perfectly, for me, highlights feminine essence. What I'm holding up here is this beautifully locally done piece of art. Well, I could be lying. I think it's local. It was purchased locally. Okay. So this beautiful piece of art, and it is dynamic. Like I'm telling you, there's like Black Panther, there's the feminine in the center, and there's like rainbows beaming out of her forehead. There's all these different creatures and the cosmic universes in the background. There's all these beautiful colors and flowers. It's incredible. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And what it exemplifies is like the great mystery, light, energy, the universe. It's deep, and there's a lot there. There's a lot there. It's forever changing. Like it really shows just the depth of experience. And I'd say the feminine essence, feminine essence is that. Feminine essence is forever changing. It's the great mystery. It is from the light. It is the part of us that is light itself. It's energy. And this feminine essence, this energy, this light really needs to be valued in what it brings, in what it invokes, in feeling. Feminine essence, and this is practically this is where you will actually get to know if your partner has a lot of feminine essence. They like literal shiny objects. They like beauty. They like colors. I was talking to Courtney last night, and we were jamming on this a little bit, and she's like, oh yeah, I literally saw a dress the other day and it's covered in pearls. And she's like, I'm just fantasizing about it. It's like somebody with a strong feminine essence likes shiny, colorful, bright, brilliant things. They also like to decorate. They like to make things beautiful. They like to dress up. They like to wear earrings. That's what they love. Now, the key with feminine essence, well, first, sorry, I'm going to shift here. And then I'm going to describe masculine essence, and then I'm going to go into what each of them needs, okay? So masculine essence, what is it? So feminine essence, forever moving and changing, and light. It's light. It's light. It's energy. Masculine essence is the never changing witness. Shiva energy. Shiva energy is the observer, the constant, never changing. So in masculine essence, when we talk about relational dynamics, it's like the part that can be present. That's, it's such a buzzword in the relational space. It's like women looking for presence. What does that mean? Looking for the one that is stable and grounded, structured within themselves, that can be of witness to the beauty, can be witness to the feminine essence, to the light that is emanating through. Masculine essence is how it, practically how this shows up in a being is it's the part of us that like structure. It's the banks of the river, it's containment so that the light can pour through, that the water can wash through. Masculine energy is, it's, when we think of never changing, how this shows up in human form is it's practical. It's got systems in place. It builds things so that things can be, like when I think of masculine energy, I think of like a skyscraper that's got all this engineering and it's like no storm is going to blow it down. That's coming from masculine essence. It's coming from deep thought, logical, and in a human form, it's this essence, it's this energy that likes to touch the edge of death. And I'm gonna do a whole episode on this, or Courtney and I will do a whole episode. So I'm not gonna go too into the weeds here, but the part that's relevant to this topic of like, okay, how to meet women, how to meet the essence in them that's feeling neglected and dried up. One of the stickiest pain points for women I've noticed is where women do have a strong feminine essence, and it's the essence that isn't being met. They're being met in lots of ways in the masculine part, but they're not being met in the feminine part because, let's be real, there's a lot of lack of understanding of what that means. There's so many of us walking around. I'm talking about myself here. It's taken me 40 years to even understand the impact of my mother and father wound. It's immense. So many of us are walking around the world unintegrated from our mother and father wounds. And what that means is we lack the integrated relational ingredients in our nervous system to meet these essences and qualities in our partner and even within ourselves because we didn't get it in an attuned way. So first of all, so much grace for all of you listening, because if you didn't receive it, it's impossible for you to offer it. You need to receive it in some way for that to turn on that information in your body, your cells, your attachment system, your neural networks to be like, oh, that's what that feels like. Our nervous system it's this primal thing that feels an experience. We need to feel an experience, receive it, and integrate the places where we didn't have it. And then, oh, that's what that feels like. Oh, that's why it's so important. And then we can meet another person in it. So masculine, feminine essence. So what do we do about this? The feminine essence that isn't feeling satisfied ultimately is not feeling seen. So feminine essence, what the need is. So we talked about what it is, but now we're going to talk about what the need is. The feminine essence needs to be seen. Seen in the essence, seen in the light, seen in the beauty, related with and expressed in ways of how does she make you feel? What does she invoke in your heart? She wants that. She wants to feel how her energy is illuminating life. That's the ultimate, my friend. If that can be mirrored or communicated or appreciated or valued, she will sparkle even more. Like when I share with Courtney how much I love the energy and how much I appreciate the energy she brings to her home, or how beautiful she is, she's like, oh yeah? I think like this brings me back to a memory actually. When I first met her in person, we were at an event called Collective Hearts. A really dear friend of mine, Dr. Kevin Preston and Courtney, they used to collaborate, and they put on these events called Collective Hearts. And I was at this event making intuitive healing crystal jewelry for the attendees. And so this is our first time that we met. And there was a moment where I was cleaning up all my gear, and all of a sudden I got these whispers from God, just like, get up, walk up, and talk to her. And I was like, what the hell am I going to say? And the whispers said, just share how she makes you feel and share how beautiful she is. So I walk up to her and I'm like, this is so random. And I just feel inspired. I got to come here. I had to walk up here and just let you know, God, you're beautiful. Like, your energy is just incredible. And I go on and I share about her energy and how I felt. And, anyone who was at the Collective Hearts, if you're listening, you'll laugh. Everyone was laughing because at the meals that we were having, I would describe how food made me feel. I really love food. I have something I call foodgasms. Like, when I'm eating a really good meal, I'm like, oh, and I moan, and people are like, oh my God. I hope that I find something in my life that makes me feel that good. And everyone would laugh. And so I said, do you know how everyone's joking about how food makes me feel? I'm like, just being in your presence makes me feel that way. And my friends, when I look back and now having the understanding of what was happening in this exchange, she just lit up. She was sparkling. Her face just like does this really sweet thing when she feels really like appreciated or what, just really met. She gets this like really sweet innocence look to her face, and her mouth does this really sweet thing. It's so sexy. And she was just sparkling. And then she looked at me and she's like, oh yeah, tell me more. And I did. And she just loved it. It was interesting in this whole exchange. I didn't ask for a number. It just like ended up like, okay, bye. And cleaned up my gear and left. But what was fascinating when I look back, this is interesting, is she ended up finding out my phone number from Kevin and then reached out to me. And then once we connected, things started to become really clear. Like, wow, that this was the person we were calling in. Anyways, the reason I share that is the thing that I can really feel and recognize that really helped her open up and move towards and claim me was what I offered her that was actually attuned and actually satisfied the feminine essence in her. And this is where, my friends, I'm seeing so many partners and couples get stuck, is the man or woman, or they doesn't know who has a partner with strong feminine essence that isn't feeling satisfied, doesn't understand this. This will change your life. Just understanding this alone will change your life, because now you can offer over different ingredients. So when you go and watch yourself, and I've done this so many times, I'm like, I'm going to tell her how great, how much I appreciate she did this thing. And I'm like, no, wait, I want to be appreciated for all the things that I did, not her. Start to share more about the energy. I really want you guys to go try this to all the women in your life, your mother, your partner, any woman in your life. Start to share more of what you see in them, what's beautiful about them, what you appreciate about their essence. Watch what comes out that's different. Watch them light up. And then how beautiful it is. And I call this Shiva sitting front row, witness to the beauty of the feminine unfurling like a rose, like a lotus. Like, just, oh my God, it's the most beautiful thing to be able to sit front row to watch a woman open, to soften, to move into receivership. It's juicy, it's delicious, it's incredible. And that's the gift of learning what to offer so that process can happen. It's a mutual exchange. She will feel so good and you will feel good. I know I feel good every time I get to offer it, because then I actually get to see what I'm providing, which is an experience for her to open, to unfurl. It's incredible. Now, the masculine essence. What does the masculine essence need? Well, the thing that's provided most of the time in relationship in a way where it's like, thanks. Someone with strong masculine essence actually does need to be acknowledged and appreciated for how hard they're working, for what they're doing in the work, for, like one of the telltale signs of strong masculine essence is tell them how safe you make them feel or how safe they make you feel, and watch them. If they light up and glow and like, strong masculine essence. Masculine and essence. And I've done posts on Instagram around this and asked questions to get real feedback from humans, part of my study, and part of just relating with other humans to get to know what's actually real in people's experiences out there. So many men respond to the question where I'm like, where do you feel the most met by the feminine? It's like, oh, when she tells me I'm safe, when she tells me that I provide her an experience where she feels met, where she feels seen. It's like, oh, like when she tells me that she's so satisfied by, how hard I work or the money I bring home. It's like they just love it. It's like more of that, and I'll directly ask for this from Courtney as an example. And if, for you men listening, if you have strong masculine essence, don't just hope and pray for it. Directly and clearly communicate it's something you need and ask for it. This will also be going back into how to take some of the load off the feminine, is just clearly ask for what you need. And this can be edgy. This can be difficult because a lot of men out there are just like, I don't even know what I need. I'm telling you what you need. You need to receive feedback and acknowledgement for what you provide that's enjoyable, that's appreciated. If you can ask for that and then receive that, you will start to fill your own cup, and that will give you the resource. Because I talked about earlier, you can't give it unless you get it. You satisfying and receiving the ingredients for your masculine essence will ignite in you the natural orientation to want to provide and meet and satisfy the essence in the feminine. That's the polarity. This is the polarity. The masculine essence is seen and acknowledged of like, ooh, I love how you hold me. I feel so met by you. It's like, God, when Courtney sends me texts, she sent me a few the other day or yesterday. It was like, oh my God, I just feel so met by you. One of them was, because we talk about this whole thing where she has a few protectors that have been there a long time. And she sent me a message and she's like, you're finally getting through my protectors and the part of me that's been skeptical of like not fully trusting you as the masculine, in the masculine essence. And she's like, you're making your way through that. I really trust you. And oh, my soul, my heart, oh, that'll fuel me for months. And that's the motivation to get to know even more how I can fill her cup, how I can relieve her load of as a mother and relieve her and support her so she can rest and recharge that feminine essence. Because part of the other need is, one of it is being seen. And a way of it being seen is seeing how much that light is spilling into the needs and the care of others, the kiddos, the community members, and what that light needs is time and space to just be, so they can recharge the battery, so that that light battery can fill up, and then they can radiate it back out, and they can emanate more of that beauty, more of that, brilliance. It needs time to recharge. They really need rest, that nourishment. Courtney will describe to me, because, a big need and desire in my world is, our sexual chemistry and the way that we relate in that place. It's like being physical, and making love. Like that's a strong need for me. And what she'll express to me is she needs time to rest, to really fill that battery, to go into her juicy feminine, and then she's more open. If I can help carry the load and give her time to self-care and then feed her and reflect to her all the brilliance of what her energy brings and offers my life, then she's like so ready to just offer and meet me in the place, need for both of us. But if she's really met in the feminine essence part, it's so much easier to offer and to connect in those places. And this is what makes the relationship juicy. So, recap, practical pieces. I really want you to practice and explore. First of all, I want you to just maybe spend some time journaling and reflecting of like, whoa, what is my balance? Am I more do I have more masculine essence, or do I have more feminine essence? Do I feel, like it, again, I was gonna share more here, but I'll do it on another episode. I'm going a deeper dive on the feminine masculine essence, but simply being curious, like, is there the part of you that really is looking to be seen for the energy that you bring? Okay, feminine essence. Do you naturally care and tend to others? Okay, feminine essence. Are you more in the masculine essence, the one that like really feels satisfied by working hard and getting shit done and like structure and order and things to be a certain way, that likes to be appreciated for what you provide? Stronger masculine essence. If you have that, clearly communicate and ask for it so that you can fill that cup with that full cup. And it doesn't have to be just from your partner. You can be from community members. Like, it can be bold and vulnerable, but like reach out to a friend that you trust and be like, can you just tell me the things that are valuable about me? How do I add value to the world or your life? And just let yourself receive it and be seen in it. It's such a gift. It can be scary for people because vulnerability is a lot of what people avoid, because of how it was received in the past. But just try it new with the people in your life. Okay. And then that full cup, taking that full cup, taking that masculine essence, which is the witness. It's the witness. It's the one that can see the light, the beauty, and reflect it back. If you do that, you will start to experience a woman soften and melt and drop all the defenses and the criticisms and the blames. Most likely, again, like I said earlier in this episode, a woman still needs to do her work on receivership. And you can guide her in this if you're in partnership and there's a place where she's not surrendering. You're like, hey, I know this is a powerful one. Hey, in the past, I know that I have really met you in a very misattuned way. And I've shared things that just aren't what you actually need. I really, I listened to the Together podcast. Mike shared this thing and I want to try this. Please give me the chance to try and meet you in a different way. Guide her. This is masculine essence. Give her clarity and structure and guidance so that she can be invited into her feminine. And orient her in this way and just say, I want to try to meet you differently. If you can, my friend, acknowledge what's been happening that hasn't been landing, that's led to all the things where she's not feeling seen or met, that will drop a lot of the defenses, just that alone. Then you start to orient what you're going to do different. Where did you, give her information of like that something actually changed. You have new information. So there is a possibility of a new experience here. And then guide her into, I just want you to feel appreciated for who you actually are, for the essence that you bring to my life, for the light that you bring into my life. If you bring that in, really high chances that those defense strategies will just dissolve, because it's also such a place that's been so thirsty to receive that. If you bring that in, most likely receivership will start to happen. And then be real, be authentic, scan in your life. Where is her beauty? Where does it show up? Is it how she dresses? Is it the body that she has? Comment on her features, her eyes, her breasts, the way she moves. Like, describe her beauty. Like, the earrings that you see her wear a lot of the time is a good sign that that's a way she's wanting to be seen. Comment on that. Let her know. Like, just start to share what you experience. How does she make you feel in your heart? Share some of the more vulnerable emotions. If you do that, game changer. That's going to start filling her cup. That's going to start satiating her soul in such a deep level, because that feminine essence needs to be seen. My friends, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. This time has been beautiful. You sharing it with me. So thank you for being here. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for wanting to learn these ingredients so that you can start to thrive in relationship, so that we together can offer over more mature ingredients that are more attuned, not just to ourselves and our partners, but to humanity. And this is why we describe the work that we do. The essence of together is sacred relationship. This is sacred work, to be a human being and to move into our own evolution, to bring in more understanding, awareness, and resources so that we can offer that back to others, is what brings us back to unified consciousness, the experience of it, the felt sense of it. This is where we get to thrive in relationship, because it's the way we were always meant to be, connected, bonded, in each other's care. When we are in each other's care, everything is more enjoyable. That is where we remember our deep sense of belonging. It's in the together space. Thank you again. If you liked this, please do me a favor. If you got value from this, go hit depending on the platform. If you're on YouTube, go hit the bell, hit subscribe, hit like. If you're on those other platforms, do me a favor, hit the 5-star rating. It really helps this podcast reach more people. Send it to a friend. Let me feel you. Comment in the comments below. I'd love to hear your messages and what gets invoked for you, because we are in this together. Thanks once again. I'll see you in the next episode.